Compression. The key to compression is Alice in Wonderland. If you get stuck on it, just think about this. The aim of compressing is to get a file size smaller. We're trying to get the best and the most out of our hard drive as possible. We want to store lots of files on there. We want to store lots of images. Think about your mobile phone. You want to store lots of pictures. You don't have to be deleting a picture or backing it up every week to take more photographs. So if we can get the file smaller, we can store more of them. Smaller files take up less space on our device. Streaming and downloading is quicker as they take up less bandwidth. So we talked about this before, how bandwidth is kind of like a road getting to your house. How wide's the road? A wider road, like a motorway going to your house, means you get there dead fast. If it was a windy road, it was only one lane of traffic, but you had to take it in turns, that's going to take a longer amount of time. So a smaller file will take up less bandwidth. An email service have size restrictions, so you can't send massive files as an email. They have to be compressed, you have to zip them up. There's two main types that you need to know, lossy and lossless. So lossy is where you permanently remove data from the file. It limits the number of bits needed and it's a smaller file. It kind of looks at a picture and it throws away any information we don't need. So pictures are a good example of this. If you save a file in a lossy file compression method, then if there was 5 different types of black or different shades of black on there, then they just get replaced by 1. And if there was 12 shades of red, maybe they get replaced with just 2 different shades of red. And all that data gets lost. But it doesn't matter, because to the human eye or to the human ear, to the senses, we as humans don't really see it. Lossless is where we temporarily remove data and we store it in a file, but it can be restored to its original size. A lossy one, when we compress a lossy, is kind of like getting a piece of paper, cutting it in half, that will never go back to the same size again. Lossless is like folding that piece of paper and then reopening it back to the original. Then the pros and cons of each one. So lossy, it greatly reduces the file size because we're just hacking away at it and getting rid of bits of data all over the place. We can get the file a lot smaller, takes up less bandwidth, and it's commonly used in lots of software, so it's a format that's recognised by computers. The cons are the data can't be restored, it can't be used with text or software files, because if you think about it, if you're saying that when you use lossy compression bits of information get lost, well, how's the software going to run? It's like, well, I can't close it down now, or I can't do that feature because I've lost that bit of compression. That bit of software doesn't exist anymore. And the quality is usually worse than the original. So MP3s, AAC and JPEGs are all examples of that. Lossless is only temporary, so no actual quality is lost, and they look and sound exactly the same as the original. They can be decompressed back to the original and can be used on text and software. So in a situation where we've only got software to compress, in a GCSE question, it might be like, why can't software, what sort of compression method would you use for software? Well, lossless is our only option, but why? The cons are, because it's only a slight reduction, because we're not losing anything, it's still going to take up a lot of space. So it wouldn't be beneficial for us to use lossless on a song if it was just going on an MP3 player. The example used here is that a lossless song would be 30 megabytes, whereas a lossy song is 5 megabytes. FLAC, TIFF and PNG are examples of this type of file. So as I said at the start, Alice in Wonderland is the key to this. Alice can't go into the Wonderland to have a tea party and do all that sort of stuff unless she's smaller, so she has to drink the magic potion that shrinks her down. But she does get restored to her full height eventually. So that's lossless compression. Okay, lossy compression would mean that once she's drunk that drink, she has to stay that small forever. Okay, she's just running around, she can never be the full size. So if you're stuck in the exam, think of Alice in Wonderland.